Thank you, Monica. À toi. Et tu, Monica. At least you're not wearing white.
Thank you so much, Steph, and good afternoon, everyone. I will start today by saying hello to somebody who is here for the first time. His name is Peter Hutchinson, and he's from AFP. And Peter, welcome, bienvenue. I will start with a note. The PJ is on her way right now to Bolivia. So this is our travel announcement for you. The President of the General Assembly is on her way to La Paz for an official visit at the invitation of the Plurinational State of Bolivia. Mrs. Espinosa will hold a bilateral meeting with the country's president, His Excellency Mr. Evo Morales, representatives of the government, civil society, and academia, as well as the UN country team. The PGA is expected to take part in a public event on gender equality on Friday. Shortly after arriving in La Paz tomorrow morning, Ms. María Fernanda Espinosa will be received by the country's foreign minister, His Excellency Mr. Pary Rodríguez, and will meet with the heads of UN agencies and funds in Bolivia. The PJ is also expected to take part in a symposium on indigenous languages and to deliver remarks to the University Católica Boliviana, where she will meet the rector, Mr. Antonio Fernández. The PJ will also deliver remarks at two separate conferences to discuss the role of the United Nations in the current international context and challenges and progress on the rights of women and on sustainable development. On Friday, 9th August, President Morales and the President of the General Assembly will walk side by side, leading a march for women's rights titled Bolivia Free of Violence Against Women in La Paz Central Square, Plaza Murillo. Mrs. Espinosa will take part in a dinner reception afterwards offered by His Excellency President Evo Morales in her honor. The PJ is traveling with her deputy, chef de cabinet, a communications specialist, and her personal assistant. All travel costs are being covered by the government of Bolivia and the PJ's Office Trust Fund. She will be back in New York on Saturday, 10th August. And the PJ strongly condemns a bomb attack in Kabul, Afghanistan, which killed at least 14 people and left over 140 injured. Most of the victims are civilians. Mrs. Espinosa says that the attack represents an unexplainable act of extreme violence. She extends her deepest condolences to the families of the victims, the people, and the government of Afghanistan. The PJ also wishes a speedy recovery to all those injured in the explosion. This is all from us. Do you have anything else? I have Hamid, I have Ahmed, and I have Masoud. Okay, Hamid, go ahead.
Thank you. I
How
have
are
two
you?
questions. First, about if the PGA issued a statement on the victims of hate crimes, which they were labeled as homegrown terrorism in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio. If she issued a similar statement to what we just heard about Afghanistan. The second question, since UNRWA is mandated by the GA, I want to ask if the President of the General Assembly is following the situation, if she's been updated on the investigation, and if why she didn't issue a statement expressing her support to the agency rather than to the individuals. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, the PJ is following the situation with UNRWA. I think we talked about that before here. An investigation is taking place, so she will be duly updated on the investigation. I think we all will be when this investigation is over, and she will make a statement. We are not, probably some of us will be lawyers or have law training, but we know as citizens that we will not make any comments while an investigation is taking place. However, Hamid, On the role of UNRWA, I think the PGA said herself that she values the role of agency. In several interviews before, or even asked at one-on-one, the work of UNRWA providing education, providing health care, livelihood to support millions of Palestinian refugees. She also spoke before that is important when we're talking about the situation in the region. And now I'm talking broadly about the situation, as we mentioned, that dialogue is important, that we have to advance with a peace process where you have two states living side by side in a peaceful manner. However, I think we should not get probably confuse here what is the opinion of the PGA on an agency that is doing good work for decades, and the investigation or an investigation that is going on. The PGA has zero tolerance for corruption. If there is anything that needs to be investigated, will be investigated. And it's not fair for us to start talking about now or thinking of imagining what is happening. We will know in due time, and she will make a statement. And I'm aware of this. Your question is very fair, and I understand that. And we have that on our mind. Okay, thank you, Ahmed, and then Masood. Ahmed, go ahead.
Thank you, Monica. The PGA have spoke many times that the General Assembly is the parliamentary body of the United Nations. So as different PGAs have conveyed the same message. With the reports about corruption in the UN agencies operating in Yemen, namely the WHO and the mangling of a UNESCO official there, which I don't know why UNESCO is existing in Yemen in a humanitarian operation. What are the tools that the PGA and the GA have as an oversight over there is an ocean of funds pouring into Yemen humanitarian operation, billions and billions of dollars. What are the measures that the PGA and the GA are taking to address these corruption charges, since the case that is highlighted date back to October 2018. So it's almost a year since that time, and I'm sure that was no secret among member states or the Secretariat. But we don't see any real concrete oversight actions.
Well, I think that is very clear, and we all know the UN very well, that this organization has mechanisms in place to deal with wrongdoings or allegations of corruptions, et cetera, et cetera. I think we are more or less going the same direction as we just spoke to Hamid. If investigations take place, investigations have to take place. No? We cannot, of course, as journalists, I understand, because I am a journalist myself, we want the situation to be sorted out or solved rapidly, and we want to an end to the story, but there is a process that has to take place. And in the case of the PGA being the Parliament of Humanity, that's what the Mrs. Espinosa says. That's exactly what it is. The Parliament of Humanity. It's a place where every country has the same rights to vote. Every country has a vote. Every country has the same microphone, the same time to speak. And decisions made by the General Assembly are made by member states. And member states are entitled to decide over issues.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean the speak fest that we see at the GA and speeches and the right to speak and votes. I'm speaking about oversight measures, since I'm not really seeing, after 10 months of the initial investigation and the incidents that took place, which probably dates back to longer than that, we have not seen any action to protect even the funds that's pouring from other member states who are also members in the General Assembly and other organizations that out of good humanity have contributed to the humanitarian efforts in Yemen.
I take your comments on board. Thank you. Masood?
Yes, Monica, on this situation in India and Pakistan, which is like a hair trigger situation, and they're both nuclear-armed countries, which can come to war anytime, and it could spell out to be a disastrous nuclear war. Is she following that? What is her opinion about this situation as it is now? Can you please tell us about that? Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you for your question. As you may remember, when the news broke, the PGA was traveling to London. Now she's in Bolivia. Yes, she's following, as she can follow on her trip, and she's looking forward to come back and be briefed by the Secretary General. Yes. Thank you.
In particular, after the Indian government has instituted new sort of, has somehow rescinded the so-called laws which are affected it and kept it under control, this whole situation, since 1948. Now situation is going on. So what does she have to say about those things?
She's looking forward to be briefed by the Secretary General, and that's what I have for you right now. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Stefano, and then afterwards I have Sato. Go ahead.
Thank you, Monica.
How are you?
Good. For the President of the General Assembly, that when she inaugurated her term, said that the UN pillar of the human rights was the most important, how does she react on the news that Italy just passing legislation where rescue boat in the Mediterranean will be fined €1 million when they're caught in rescuing migrants or refugees that they are in distress in the Mediterranean?
As you know, parliaments are sovereign to make the legislations, and we, the PGA, General Assembly, doesn't get involved in this. What the PGA has said, though, and that hasn't changed, is that we need safe routes for migrants. We need migrants and refugees, by the way. We need to guarantee that every migrant searching for a better life or searching for safety or for dignity receives what this migrant is looking for. The PJ also asked before, and she called on countries and member states, organizations, everyone, every party with the power to do so, to uphold the promotion of universal respect for and also the observance of human rights, international law. That's what she has been saying. And now we have, I like to bring it here because I think, sometimes it's good to have the paper in our hands. I understand, of course, we have electronic versions, but it's here, yeah? It's the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration with 23 points. So now we have a navigation document, if we want. And it was approved, by the way. It was endorsed by the General Assembly in December. And now it's time for implementing it. It's time for sitting down and finding out a way of making it happen for everybody. In order to avoid this tragic news that we have, too often about migrants trying to reach safe harbor and never making it. Sato, go ahead.
Yes, same question about North Korea. The recently Special Rapporteur Quintana submitted the updated report to the General Assembly. Does PGA have any comment on that?
I have to look into it for you, Sato. I'm going to bring you something either later today or tomorrow, okay? If you don't have anything else, I would say thank you very much. It's nice to see you, some of you again, and I see you tomorrow. Thank you. Some of you again. People who haven't been.